Hi guys, you're on vrm24.com and today we are going to disassemble Samsung Gear Sport. First, we need to remove the straps. We will use tweezers, but you can also remove them with your fingers. After that, we need to remove the rubber plugs that cover the screws. In our case, these plugs are glued with a sealant. It is best to set the plugs aside so we don't lose them. And of course, glue them back on when reassembling. Then we move on to unscrewing the screws that hold the back cover. For this, we will use a 3-win Y-O screwdriver. So we have unscrewed the screws. After that, we need to remove the back cover. To do this, we will use a thin plastic pick. We carefully insert it into the gap between the case and the back cover and gently run it along the edge, opening the back cover. We carefully lift the back cover, make sure nothing is in the way, that there are no cables between the back cover and the motherboard, and set the back cover aside. Next, using a non-metallic tool, we disconnect the display cable connector and disconnect the battery connector. We can also unscrew one screw that secures the motherboard to the bracket. For this, we will need a 1.5 mm Phillips #3O screwdriver. So we have unscrewed one screw and we move on to detaching the bracket and motherboard. To do this, we will use tweezers. We find the right place where we can carefully pry to lift and remove the bracket, which is recessed into the case. We carefully lift it up and we see that the bracket is held by the display cable that is threaded through the bracket to the motherboard. We need to carefully thread the cable with the connector back through the bracket to the carefully detached bracket. We set the case aside and move on to removing the motherboard. To remove the motherboard, we first need to detach the side buttons, which are glued to the bracket. To do this, we need to carefully lift and flip the bracket to see the location of the side buttons. Using a thin tool, in our case it is tweezers, we need to carefully pry and detach the two buttons. After disconnecting all buttons, we can accordingly detach the bracket and set the motherboard aside. This is the motherboard and we move on to detaching the battery. To detach the battery, we first need to unstick the battery contact pad on the bracket. So we detach the contact pad and then, using a thin tool, carefully lift the battery and peel it off the bracket. The battery is not glued really tightly, so it comes off without much effort. And on the bracket we have a linear motor. This is a version of vibration motor. So this is the end of our disassembly. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Okay guys, now we're done. Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, read our articles on our website. Take care of yourself and until next video.